Three, two, one, and we're live. Welcome once again to HeroQuest fans. It is Friday, August 5th, and Gen Con is in full swing, and we've had just a flurry of updates. Chris Nadieu is over there with a bunch of the Avalon Hill people, Hasbro, and they are just spoiling the heck out of the HeroQuest stuff there. They've revealed HeroScape, which was a game I never played, but actually is more popular, more famous than HeroQuest, and it's coming back too. Let me just, I got a bunch of people to thank, and a lot of, oh, we are not questing live. That's tomorrow. Sorry about that. Let me just remove that. Little thing there. We're talking today. This is HeroQuest Talk. So, ElfQuest Pack spoilers. So this is going to be a heavily spoilerific stream, okay? So, let me just check a couple of things here. Welcome Count Cogpox and Elverg. I've got a bunch of fans going because it is hot today in my part of the world. So just give me 1 second here. We got to get some music going. I got a lot to talk about. So let's make sure we've got sound correctly. Yep, we sure do. Why am I not hearing music? There it is. I hear it. That familiar royalty-free music. Okay. HeroQuest discussion time. This is going to be great. Yeah. All right, welcome to HeroQuest fans. So I couldn't be at Gen Con. I'm relying on the goodness of all your reporting. So Encarming has been just flooding us with teasers and so many cool people in the HeroQuest fans Discord. Shout out to all of you, and the people on Facebook, and the people on other social media, people on Ye Olde N, have been like taking photos and videos, and then people have taken those photos and videos and they've been like catching little glimpses of things and like zooming in on stuff and like, you know, sharpening it in Photoshop to try to see every corner of everything, because, you know, those guys are busy running the display booths and everything, and they're not necessarily giving us every detail. So obviously Frozen Horror is out, and I'm not sure if they're demoing that, but they're demoing the game system. Hey, yeah. But the Rogue Heir of Elathorn is on full display. People are figuring that out. I do want to talk about that new character. I also want to talk about heavily the ElfQuest pack and all the spoilers that we've learned in the last 24 hours, which a lot of people have talked about ahead of me, and that's okay. That's cool. This is just me reacting to it and providing more info. But I do want to say some other things, some spoilerific stuff having to do with the ElfQuest pack, because we haven't seen the inside of that quest book yet, and I think this is going to be of interest to a lot of people. I do want to acknowledge just how much fun I had at last night's Rantcast. So shout out to Strange Bus, the Strange Bus. And it was like we knew Amalgamash couldn't be on the show, but he was still going to show up in the chat. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go because he had a lot of things to say, and it sounded like he was a little disappointed, maybe a little upset about some of the one change that we heard about for the ElfQuest pack. I don't do that on these. Sorry, Elver. Yeah, he was disappointed that they had lowered the body points of the ogre. And I was wondering, like, is that just the tip of the iceberg? Are there other changes? Like, I don't have a problem with there being changes, because to me, the Barbarian Quest pack and the Elf Quest pack back in '92 were broken. Okay? And they have the right, because they own it, to modify it. Now, Amalgamash made a lot of good points, and normally I'm like kind of on his side as far as like I'm not using this in a pejorative way, a purist, saying like no, I just want you to reprint the game as few changes as possible, just update the build quality on the materials, and then save the changes for extra quests and whatever. So I want to give him a fair hearing. I'm just going to go back over with a fine-tooth comb the things he said. And the thing is, like, I'm not doing this to like trap him or anything. The point is, like, everybody has a right to do their own research, change their mind, have their own opinion, even if nobody agrees with it. Like, that's all right, man. That's fine. And when you're a GM, you have a lot of freedom to do what you want. You can like enforce your will on the game world. It's totally that simple. And the argument doesn't happen at the table. That arguments happen in between. Like, we're all looking for ways that we can be more effective GMs, that we can facilitate even more fun games. And you're going to get people that are just like, no, you're doing it wrong. Why are you doing it that way? And when it's their turn, they do what they want. So let me just talk about some of the stuff that was covered. Just to be fair to him, because I don't want anybody to think that we like ganged up on him or ignored what he had to say. But so I'm just going to go back over this a little more carefully just to make sure it's cool, because I know he's going to do a video about this, and I just want to make sure for our part that we're just giving him his credit where credit is due. So the first part I think was pretty clear. It's like, don't fix it for me, I can do that, is what he's saying. And I guess since we are dealing with legacy Hero Quest stuff, even though you can say the Barbarian Quest Pack and the Elf Quest Pack were very rare, like back in the day, like only a small percentage of Hero Quest fans back in the 90s actually owned them. And now today, if you want to get them, like, good luck. They're super expensive. So your best bet is just to download them. And yes, they've been available on Hasbro customer care for 20 years. So a person could download those legally from Hasbro.com, and they could proxy the stuff, and they could recreate it using their own materials. So how cool that they re-release these now. Frozen Horror is already out. Hey! Elf Quest Pack is coming out spring of 2023. But it's like that idea that, oh man, I always wanted to own it in 92, but I couldn't. So I want it as pristine and pure and close to the original as possible. So even though I think Amalgamash, he's bought these now, so he owns the classic ones. So he's ahead of us there, because I mean, I can't afford that. Like, I don't even want to spend that kind of money on a HeroQuest product, even if I really would love to have it. Okay, so he's saying, don't fix it for me, I can do that. Yeah. That's an unpopular opinion, because when I say that, like, people come at me and go, no. You fix it for the masses, and then the hardcore people can like change it. Because you and I are both going to do it, the changes. Like, either Avalon Hill fixes it, or you, the GM, fix it. I mean, people are going to play it for the first time, just get destroyed and go, wait, what's wrong with these quests? I guess we have to use our imagination to like make it better. And so then you do it. And you're like, well, that's free to do, because a computer game, you got to code it, you got to edit it. A board game, you just get out a pencil and paper and you fix it. So then there's the question of, that was part one. So part two, Amalgamash says, what did the author say? What did the author want? I'm really a strong believer in that. And we've been looking at the draft notes, talking about how, oh, hey, Zucco La Ninja, bonjour de la France, welcome. Yeah, let me address these comments here, sorry. Count Cogpox says, I feel like the adjustment to the Ogre body point helps rebalance the progression through the expansions chronologically. I assume we will be getting hard mobs as the packs progress. May see stronger ogres against the Ogre Horde re-release, fingers crossed. Well, see, that's the thing. We don't know what changes, if any, are in the quest book. I mean, unless it just happened at Gen Con, like somebody just opened the book and told us. So I'm wondering if this is just the tip of the iceberg and there's more changes. So, I mean, it's like, oh man, Amalgamash, steel yourself, man. You might not be happy about that. On the other hand, maybe the card changing is all that changed. Maybe they're going to release, just like with the Frozen Horror, a digital version that has the errata and the playtest suggestions, so that if you want to just play it as written, you can just ignore that. Or if you want to make your own homebrew fixes, you don't like the suggestions they made, you just do that yourself. But yeah, he has a valid point. And I think it's a valid point on the other side too, which is most people never played this. They don't have nostalgia for the original 92 one. I mean, they have nostalgia for the main Hero Quest one. But it's kind of like, I don't know, just like the Star Wars Holiday Special. Like, if the Star Wars Holiday Special was re-released and it was completely remastered and they like digitally like replaced certain characters and changed the music, like, you'd say, well, why does it matter? Like, nobody cares, you know? But you might have people that do care, and it's just like, listen, I want to see it, warts and all, the original, what it was like. Fair enough. And I'm not saying these were as bad as the Star Wars Holiday Special, but like, to use another example from something else, it's not like, oh, I changed Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I mean, that was a popular movie. Like it or not, it was a very popular movie when it came out. Okay, so Elverg says, he's got a valid point. I think I agree in many ways. I was on top of the hill of no changes on your YouTube for Frozen Horror. I disagree with this change specifically. Yeah, and I mean, I guess in a way, it's kind of like it shocked me a little bit too, because I thought they're on this trajectory where they're just going to keep it 100% the same, except what they have to change for legal reasons. And then all the errata is going to be in digital format. But I wonder, I mean, and Carmine hasn't said this, and maybe he won't say it or can't say it. Is the reason they did the digital fix for the Frozen Horror because it was already done? It was too late to change anything, but they had time to change the Mage of the Mirror, the ElfQuest pack? Or is it because they thought, oh man, this is going to be bad, like we got to be proactive? Or did they think it was more broken? Because I kind of thought the opposite. I thought, well, the Yeti, I mean, you set the Yeti thing problem aside, and the Frozen Horror is like way harder. Because, I mean, you've got the double attacks from the Polar Warbears, you've got tons of traps, tons of monsters. But, I mean, the ElfQuest pack is super hard too, even for experienced HeroQuest players. But it doesn't have anything quite that broken. It just has a lot of places where it's like, there's all these treasure chests that have no notes. So are they empty? Or you draw a card? I mean, it's kind of boring. Now, Amalgamash and several other people, including myself, look at that and go, oh, this is a golden opportunity. You see an unmarked chest? You can put whatever you want in that. It's a perfect opportunity for you to go, you know what? They're getting killed left and right. Let's put an elixir of life in there. Boom, done, fixed. You know? Because I guess my tendency is when I see a hard quest that I think is just going to destroy everybody and make everybody not want to play again, I'm going to make the heroes stronger so that they can meet the challenge. I'm going to give them more opportunities to get gear. I'm going to give them stronger potions. I'm going to give them upgrades in their magic. You know, I'm going to give them stuff like that so that when they can fight the boss as intended and win, have a chance, a fighting chance. Whereas you could go the other way. You could be like, listen, this room has like 4 ogres in it. Let's just make it 1 ogre. Or, you know, let's replace that with a Chaos Warrior. Or let's, it says 1 healing potion is in the room. Let's put 2. I mean, or there's a trap there. Let's just erase the trap. I mean, there's so many ways you can modify it. Because really what Zargon is supposed to do is when the heroes fail a quest, you don't just replay it again until you've memorized it. You're supposed to remix the quest. I mean, how much you change things around is up to you. But you could change the whole thing completely. And so there's no way they can like memorize it and just keep playing until they, okay, avoid that room, search right here, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, but his points are valid. I'm just saying, like, I can see the other side of it. A person can disagree. And again, I don't want to come across as saying, like, I'm getting my way. I wanted changes, so I'm getting my way, so I'm just going to, like, be happy and ignore the fact that he's a little miffed that, you know, they didn't maintain the purity of it. But how pure it is remains to be seen. And I could see them doing the opposite with a digital release. They could just release a digital thing and say, hey, guess what? Maybe some of your ogres do have 10 body points. Maybe they're stronger, you know? And that's giving you permission. Now, I understand what he's saying when he's saying, like, don't fix it for me. Like, he wants it on the page to be the original. And then the changes are just in your mind. Or in a separate product. Alright, let's read some more. So, Count Cogpox says, I do wish the quest book would say what the intention for the empty chests are. Yeah, so the default rule is, I mean, furniture just takes up space. And it impedes your movement. It's just decoration. So if there's no note, you draw a card when someone searches for treasure. That's always how it's been. But the treasure chest to most players, because of all these early quests where they give you a note every single time, means that either the chest has treasure in it, or it has a trap, or it has a trap and treasure. Because there's some where it's just a trap and then there's nothing else. Occasionally it'll say the chest is empty, but if there's no note, that means there's a card. Think about it this way. Every room can be searched by every hero once. So if you've got 4 heroes and there's a room with a treasure chest in it and a note that says there's 100 gold coins, that means the first hero that searches gets the 100 gold coins. The other 3 get cards. So it could be a hazard, a wandering monster, a potion, or gold, or jewels, you know? Which is funny because it's like, you know, it could be just something good, something bad. There's no way to know. Okay, so Elverg says the last 2 expansions have been claimed to be rushed out. Yeah, I agree with it. And actually looking at the draft notes, I think that's proven. I know not everybody can see them. Luca Paci hasn't released everything. Listen, I'm going to be going over those notes on this stream, so there's going to be heavy spoilers. But I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to steal any thunder. It's just, think of it as a preview. Like, other people are going to get to see these, like, very soon. Like, he's going to release these. So I'm not, like, hoarding these. I mean, this is just info. I want to talk about it because it's relevant to Amalgamash's comments. It's relevant to the remake that's coming out. Sorry, let's give you a little more variety to look up. So we got these upcoming releases. There's the graphic for the Mage of the Mirror. Once again, they took away ElfQuest pack. That's a pretty good picture of it, actually. Let me just save that. And then there's the Rogue Heir of Elathorn. Got some good pictures there. They've, of course, got lots of other games, but what else? HeroScape. And we've seen more of HeroScape now. So some of this information is just, it's like slowly trickling out. Pre-orders, not yet for the ElfQuest pack, but pre-orders for the Rogue Heir. Okay, yeah, back to the chat. Okay. Let's see. I want to acknowledge the people saying, and I'm not trying to retread the entire Rantcast. I just want to make sure we cover everything. But yeah, mad respect to Amalgamash. He's a good guy. I don't agree with him on everything, but I agree with him on a lot. And really, it doesn't matter. Like, I would love to just like hang out with my friends and like debate about something that we all love, you know, that we're passionate about. And sometimes those ideas rub off. It's like, okay, listen, I'm not willing to go all the way with you, but I'll go halfway, you know, towards what you're saying. Like, some of the things that you're saying actually are something that I want to do, you know, a change that I would make. Okay, so empty chest. Count Cogpox says, what did the creator intend? Yeah, they intended that if there's no note, you draw a card. It says, I just assume they want to disappoint the players. It would be nice to have a line in the quest info that says it can be used as a random picked item from the GM. The other thing is you can rewrite the quest. So if you don't like something, you just put the note. I mean, yeah, you probably want to do that ahead of time rather than just look like you're being arbitrary. But I mean, I've had quests where it's just unmarked or it's empty, and I go, nah, I'll put something that they need in there. The last 2 expansions, so Elverg, last 2 expansions have been claimed to be rushed out. Yeah, I covered that. No way to change the past as the game support ended. We're now nearing the same release point we had in the US as it was back then. The game is moving forward, new stories and things to come. Yeah, if you just look at the North American releases, we actually have more quest content now than they ever had back in the 90s, because all those free quests have come out. Now, if you take the European quests, yeah, some of those have not been recreated yet in remake form. They haven't been released yet. The European players actually got more quests because they got those White Dwarf magazine quests, they got the Dave Morris quests, they got the Marvel Winter Special. You could say Adventure Design Kit had almost a complete quest in the back of the box that people recreated. And yeah, there was fan magazines. I don't count those. But yeah, if you take all those together, they were kind of like the free quests of the day. Of course, you'd still be buying a magazine or a novel to get the quest. So it was like they're selling, but I mean, it was created by someone licensed. It wasn't just a fan recreation. Elverg says, Into the Northlands has given me a challenge to determine where or if I'll put those artifacts in Frozen Horror. I'm curious if we see a quest 0 for Mage of the Mirror. I'm 100% positive that there will be, because they're doing it every time. Every time they release a new product, I guess except for the hero collections, they always release a free quest to kind of like promote it. So you had Rogar's Hall for the pledge drive. You had New Beginnings for the game system. You had Forsaken Tunnels of Zorzel for Keller's Keep. I guess they didn't have one specifically for Return of the Witch Lord. Although, well, no, I guess not. And yeah, Into the Northlands for the Frozen Horror. So yeah, I would not be surprised at all if there was another one. I would expect it, in fact. And plus, that's their perfect opportunity to put the errata in there. Whether it's in the book or not, like whether it's in the box or not, they could always just attach it. Okay. Unless they've already written it into the quest, like into the fabric of the quest book itself. Drop those items. See, the thing is, if you're at Gen Con, they actually print it out Into the Northlands. It's actually on a sheet that they're giving out to people. And so you could buy the Frozen Horror in theory, open up the box, and toss that sheet in there. Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted them to include it in the box. Even if it's like the quest book is over here, the errata sheet is over here, but it's right there. So that way people don't have to like scour the internet for this stuff after they buy it. It's just like, it's right there. It's like, hey, here's the quests, but guess what? There's some problems. So here's some suggestions from the developers on how to fix it. But just keep in mind, the people that are making this now are not the original authors. So back to Amalgamash's point, is it respecting the original designers? I'm not going to name all their names, but we know some of their names from back in the day. There's also no lore video for Return of the Witch Lord. There is one for Keller's Keep. Good point. I wonder what that's about. I wouldn't mind hearing Stephen Baker talking about the Witch Lord. That'd be pretty sweet, actually. Okay. It's a little dry, a little hot here. Okay, so back to last night's Rantcast, which was awesome. I loved it. I was so invigorated by that conversation. But maybe I got too carried away and maybe I missed some of his comments. So if so, I'm sorry. Okay. So let's see. Elviler had pointed out, it is broken though. Someone who's never played it before won't know what they need to fix. And that's the thing, you're making extra work for the GM. It's one thing to say, here's some suggestions so you can work on it, make your own version of the quest. It's another for them to just be playing and going like, why is it so impossible? Like, you know, because yeah, as an 8-year-old, we were able to make up our own. A 12-year-old, we were able to make up our own rules and make the quest more fun. But I remember getting mad, like when my party got absolutely creamed in one quest. I was a sore loser about it. It's like, yeah, it's a lesson you have to learn as a kid, but at the same time, you're like trying to have a game, so you're trying to make it a little bit feel like they had a fighting chance. Amalgamash says, I don't know that myself, and I don't know that 5 body points fixes it. I just know it's a break in precedent. Well, see, and that's the point that I would like to see the rest of the quest book before I say the 5 body point is necessarily an improvement or not. Like, I tend to think it is because I have looked at some of the classic, because I've only played like the first 3 quests of the Elf Quest pack in my life. I haven't played through the group quests, but looking at some of the quest books, they're really tough. I mean, 10 body points is like a whole room full of monsters normally. And imagine that's not the only one you're fighting. Imagine you're fighting a couple of ogres and some other monsters. It's like, that's a boss fight. That's like an entire quest room of monsters sometimes. We won't know until we play it. Well, I think when we read it. Jacer J says, the author had no final say in the finished stats according to the letters. Yeah, true. Yeah, they had an editor. So you had at least one person working on each of the hero packs, the wizard, dwarf, barbarian, and elf. Only 2 of those actually were completed. But you had at least one person working on each one. You had people that did the artwork, and then you had an editor who made suggestions, changes, and approved final stuff. And I think he goofed up on some of the stuff because, like the Yeti hug thing, like originally there was a way to escape it. So actually, in that sense, Avalon Hill is going back closer to the original intentions with that. Because the final version, you can't get out of it. You just get caught in the hold and you die. Unless somebody kills the Yeti before you get drained of all your body points. All right, more comments. Lotion Master, hey, welcome. Welcome everybody to HeroQuest fans. Elvyler says, I think the only difference between an ogre fight and a boss fight is the ogre can't cast spells. Well, the thing about the ogres is they have really low mind points, so they're easily susceptible to spells. I was actually doing, I was testing that out. I was trying to like just simulate one of the battles from the original 92 version, like if it was winnable, and it is winnable. But basically, the wizard gets killed, and he has to use up like 3 or 4 spells in that one fight alone. That's against 2 ogres. Because think about it, you can put one of them to sleep. If the elf happens to have the elf spells, he's got to sleep as well. Or if you've got the bard, pirate, he's got a sleep spell. So like you could just boom, sleep, and then just kill him. But what if they get out of it? If they get a lucky roll, they break out of it. And then it's like, oh man, this is a slog. We're just fighting. Because they've got really strong attacks too. But yeah, like that's going to take up a huge portion of the quest. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having there's nothing that says a quest has to be structured where there's one boss fight at the end and it's in the center room. I mean, that's how the trial was. Spoilers. But yeah, you could have it just, you cross a random, corridor and all of a sudden there's just a huge fight and everybody dies or almost dies, and then you make it through the rest of the quest. Like, man, we need to regroup here. Okay, so back to the Rantcast kind of recap thing. Let's see. Amalgamash says, but again, even if it's the best explanation yet, it isn't an official re-release as much as it then becomes an interpretation. Well, true. That's the case anytime a work changes hands. You just can't help it. I mean, if they brought back the original design team and they all just said, yep, we're on board with this, we love these changes, great, go for it. But there's a wrinkle to this, and I'm going to get to that. Viola says, I don't think Elf Quest Pack was supposed to be as difficult as Barbarian Quest Pack. I agree with that. Don't have any first-hand experience. Elberg says, I think from a community standpoint, there's a heavy need for scalability rules to be available for the game. I agree with that. Not just in the companion app, but because the Barbarian and Elf Quest Pack, and actually the 2 unreleased packs, they were intended to serve 2 purposes. One is you've got those solo quests, which it was supposed to be a new experience. But it was built for either an experienced hero who just wanted to control one hero, or a brand new HeroQuest player. So like you bring someone to your table who's not played the 14 original quests. They're just learning the game for the first time. And you're going to give them these 3 solo quests to give them a bunch of gear so that in the 4th group quest, they all come together and you're up to speed. You've got your armor, your weapons, your magic, whatever you need, your potions. The problem is they made it difficult even for an experienced hero. Like, I've seen experienced heroes just get killed in this quest. And I'm not saying like it's the end of the world, like, oh my gosh, you lost the game, we'll just get good, right? But no, they just made it really crushingly difficult. So guiding the GM to say like, okay, if you're a beginner player, here are the changes. Scalable difficulty. So fans have done this. They go through the quest back, and it's probably, again, it's too late for Avalon Hill to do this right now, but like, here's room A, and you've got green monsters are like the first level. So that's like a entry-level hero. And then you've got like, how did they do it? Red? Or is yellow? Yellow is like, okay, the heroes have like 3, or they got 4 dice. Yeah, 4 dice is the first level. Second level is like 5 dice. Third level is 6 dice, or 7 or more dice. So you've got like green, yellow, red, and purple. So purple would be like, superhero level heroes. So that way it's not boring for those super tricked out heroes, but it's not like crushingly difficult for beginners or people who like have no previous quests and no saved gear. So that's a way you can do it. Otherwise, you're just saying, hey, Zargon, like, here's a hint. This quest is like super hard, and the heroes are all like 8 years old. So here's how you make it like more fun for them. Okay, let's see. Oh, nice. Thanks, Elvyler. So he just linked to elvyler.com/batsim, BATTSIM. Only straight combat, no magic yet. That's perfect. There was another website that did something similar to that, but the fact that you've got it on yours is really cool. I've got a couple dice simulators, but each of them kind of has different pros and cons. Let's take a quick look at that, what he just linked. So it's pretty basic, but yeah, you can do playtesting with this. Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing. 2 attack 3. Very interesting. Okay, so the ogre has all that. Let's just test. Result: 2 turns. Elf lost 6 body points. Ogre lost 2. Elf defeated. Interesting.